Good morning. Today we are going to discuss a topic from macroeconomics. As you know, macroeconomics is a general equilibrium analysis where all the issues, all the variables can move as a part of it. Now we are going to discuss the monetary policy of India. I am sharing my screen now. My name is P. Jayanand Kumar, lecturer in economics. Okay. Monetary policy refers to the instruments by which central bank or the government tries to regulate or modify the economic affairs of the country in keeping with certain objectives. The objectives are as said as below. The first objective is full employment. It is creation of employment opportunities to all the persons, employable persons. And the second objective is price stability. As you know, prices change. It is a continuous phenomenon, but there should be a stabilizing force between the movement. And the third objective is economic growth. As you know, growth is an essential variable. Nobody will feel to stay at a single place for a long period, as economy also. When the economy grows, it is an indicator that all the country is growing. And the fourth important objective is balance of payments equilibrium. As you know, balance of payments indicates to the international trade the affairs done by the country by purchasing or by importing or by exporting our commodities. As you know, equilibrium in balance of payments is necessary. We shall move on to instruments of monetary policy. With regard to instruments, we have two types. And the first one is quantitative instruments, which can be called as indirect instrument also. And the second one is qualitative instruments, which can be called as selective instruments. These instruments control the economy, tend to control the economy. The affected sectors is supply of money, cost of money, and availability of credit. As you know, Reserve Bank deals with circulation of money. It tries to affect the level of aggregate demand through controlling the velocity or circulation of money, the availability of money, and the availability of credit also. We shall go for the first one, quantitative instruments. The quantitative instruments are bank rate variations, open market operations, and change in reserve requirements. And the qualitative instruments are changes in margin requirements and regulation of availability of consumer credit. Now we shall move on to the instruments and deal with them individually. With regard to the first one, it is the bank rate policy. The bank rate is the minimum lending rate of the central bank at which it lends money to commercial banks. That is, as I write down here, if there is inflationary pressure, if inflation is galloping in India, in the country, automatically it regulates the inflation by increasing the bank rate. If the bank rate increases, automatically the cost at the cost of which central bank lends money to commercial bank increases. As they feel it, much, automatically they will borrow less, automatically the money in the circulation will be sucked out by the economy, from the economy. In the same way, if the prices are depressed, or if there is no inflation, or if there is some sort of stagflation or so, automatically there is a need for a boost in for the economy. In such a time, with regard to the monetary policy, the Reserve Bank of India lowers the bank rate, where it increases the availability of credit at low price. We shall go to the second one, that is open market operations. Open market operations refers to the sale and purchase of securities by the central bank. As you know, there is stock market in each and every country, in where in the stock market there will be sale of shares and securities of companies, and also treasury bills also by the central bank. When the prices are rising, automatically it sells the securities in its vault. When it sells the securities, automatically the money in the circulation will be sucked out, will be gone to the central bank. When the prices are reducing, automatically it buys the securities. Automatically, when it buys the securities from the people, the money availability will increase. As so with the repo rate and reverse repo rate, these two are with regard to them also. Repo rate means repurchase rate, and reverse repo rate means reverse repurchase rate. Repo rate indicates a purchase rate of securities by the central bank. A reverse repo rate means the rate at which central bank sells the securities. We shall move on to the third one, changes in reserve ratios. Every scheduled bank, as you know, the banks which are listed in the Schedule 2 of Reserve Bank of India Act were known as scheduled banks. Every scheduled bank is mandated by law to keep a certain percentage of its total deposits in the form of reserve fund in its vaults, and also a certain percentage with central bank. As you know, each and every scheduled bank has to maintain certain percent of its deposits, where it cannot lend all the deposits from itself. It has to maintain some cushion, as some cash in its reserve, in its vaults also, to maintain a cushion. In them, the reserve ratios are famously known as, first one is cash reserve ratio, where every scheduled bank has to keep some cash in reserve in its vaults. And the second one is statutory liquidity ratio. As set by the term itself, by the term of law, by the term set by law, each and every bank should keep some statutory liquidity in the form of cash, in the form of securities, in the form of gold, in the vaults of the Reserve Bank of India. This is with regard to change in reserve ratio. Now we shall move on to qualitative or selective instruments. Selective credit controls are used to influence specific types of credit for a particular purpose. When the price of for a particular commodity increases, it increases the margin requirements. When the prices are falling for a particular commodity, it decreases the margin requirements. We can simply analyze with this. If the central bank want to make available some more credit facility to a different commodity or a different sector, it can give some types of instructions to the banks. For suppose, like priority sector lending, where each and every scheduled commercial bank was set to issue 18% of its net bank credit to the agriculture sector. In the same way, Reserve Bank of India or the central bank controls the monetary policy in India. Thank you. For further information on this topic, you can go through the Reserve Bank of India web link where which is provided in my PowerPoint. If you have any queries with regard to this topic, you can contact me at my email address jayanandkumar@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.